This is 14 hours ago. This is before the other vote, I think. This is Katie McFarland, who looks like she's smelling like someone's holding a small turd, like a ghost is holding a ghost turd under her nose right now. She's talking to Chip Roy, who probably thinks he's next in line to fail. And he says, this would be a dangerous path to go down, says GOP lawmaker.
Congressman Chip Roy from the House Rules Committee. Mm-hmm. It's good to see you again, sir. So
yeah, we're doing great. Everything is fine. This is all going exactly. This is going exactly the way I expected / wanted / hoped right now.
We heard this news that there could be an attempt for a third vote tonight.
Wait, sweetie? Hold on. I don't know why the CC on that said, the closed caption say, sweetie?
For House Speaker, is that true?
What? Is that true? And also, is the ghost of Patrick Swayze holding a turd under my nose right now? Or is this what my face does when I hear a terrible idea? It's like, I've got a face that says, cat turd mustache.
Well, the last understanding I had from my friend Congressman Jordan was that he intended to go to the floor for a third vote. I remember, obviously, Speaker McCarthy went 15 rounds back in January.
Yeah, that was hugely fucking embarrassing. And he had to, quite frankly, take it up the poop chute to, even get what limited powers he had in the first place.
Moon River.
So I don't know why that you think this is going to work out.
So after going 2 rounds, there's been a lot of conversations over the last several days, and I think Jim intends to go to the floor tonight. But I believe, as we speak, he's having some conversations with some of the holdouts, trying to see what might persuade them and what they might want.
Yeah, the holdout. It's just a couple of holdouts, more than the first vote, but hopefully less than the third vote, but probably more will be. I don't think so. KT
want to see in order to try to build the coalition. So I'm kind of waiting.
Build the coalition. It's your fucking party, you chimpanzee.
Like you are. I've gotten a little bit of mixed signals, but last thing I understand from Team Jordan was that they expect to try to go to the floor tonight.
Go to the floor.
Oh, he went to the floor, all right. Now, notice how they're saying go to the floor instead of go to the mat, because wrestling.
Tonight, what do the holdouts want?
Anyone but Jim Jordan. Hashtag not Jim. GYM Jordan. How about just anybody who didn't look the other way while people were sexually assaulted at Ohio State University? It's wide open, KT.
Yeah, now that's something I'm not sure about. I mean,
that's because he knows it ain't him.
And with all due respect to them, there's a lot of friends in that group. When we were having our debates back in January with Speaker McCarthy, we were putting forward things we thought would make the institution better. Rules changes, things that would open the House up.
And, hey, come here, fuckwad. They didn't.
And frankly, it worked pretty dang well.
No, it didn't. Your speaker didn't even last a fucking year. He lasted 26.2 Scaramucci's, dumbass. It was terrible. It was itty fucking otic. Good Lord. It didn't go well. Jesus Christ. Nancy Pelosi is like one of the, I think, the second longest serving House Speaker ever. And you got your first guy didn't make it a fucking year, even though they had him by the short and curlies the entire time.
HR 2 passed. We got a strong defense bill passed. We passed Limit, Save, Grow. We passed a lot of bills that would empower parents and other things.
Yeah, but they didn't go anywhere, dickwad. They died in the Senate because you don't have votes for them to go anywhere. Like, he's like saying we passed a lot of PR level bullshit that was, that we could use for campaigning. But other than that, it's a whole lot of outhouse wallpaper, quite frankly.
And we wanted to change the institution. I hope.
Yeah, that is true. They wanted to eliminate there's one part of the institution they wanted to get rid of. What was it? Democracy. That's right. They wanted to move to sort of a French Revolution, off with their head kind of a system.
Hope these guys will give Jim a path, what they want to see to improve this institution and help us work for the people better.
Yes, they did. They gave Jim a path that would help this institution work for the people better, which is a path towards the exit.
We'll see. We'll see what comes out of this meeting.
Now, is it correct that you support Jim Jordan, but you also say no to empowering House Speaker Pro Tem Patrick McHenry? The plan was maybe do that until January to have a cool-off period for 3 months.
A cool-off period. It's your fucking party! Oh, my God. A cool-off period. Yeah, we have to settle down. A lot of tempers flared, and we all said things we meant. I mean...
But you say that's unconstitutional.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly constitutionally questionable. And I want to be very clear. This is not directed at Patrick. I mean, Patrick has been doing his job ably in the position he's in as the...
He's been doing the job where you can't do anything very well. As a congressman and as a speaker pro tem, he makes a great traffic light.
Speaker pro temp in the role following the vacating of the speaker. My concern is that this would do something that is entirely unprecedented.
It would be unprecedented. First of all, having a speaker who is a Keebler elf would in and of itself be very problematic. It would, because I don't think he brought enough chocolate chips for everybody. Also, I think there is, in their caucus, there is a no bow ties rule ever since Tucker jettisoned his.
And in the history of this institution, which is to empower a speaker pro temp in the absence of a duly elected speaker.
Right, but, we really haven't been in a situation where one party was so viciously fucked up before.
We've never done that.
Well, that's because you are a special class of dumbass, sir. You and your buddies, Matt Gaetz and all those other shitheads, are a brand spanking new affront to democracy. Congratulations. And all the shit America has been through, War of 1812, Civil War, Vietnam, fucking Watergate, the 2008 crash, 9/11, the fucking Warren report to the White Plague of tuberculosis, the Spanish flu, World War I, Jesus Christ, of all those things, you, sir, and your ilk are such enormous fuck-ups that you have, in 2023, been able to break new ground in fuck-uppery. Congratulations. It's a shame you don't get some sort of a fucking plaque. By the way, like, subscribe, thumbs up, blah-de-blah.
I think that would be a dangerous path to go down, a slippery slope. I believe we...
A slippery slope to what? Multiple pro tems or whatever? Guess what? When Democrats run shit, we're not going to do this bullshit. We're not going to fuck around like this. What a waste of time. Your party is dying because you can't even manage this.
We have a duty under the Constitution as...
He said duty.
Is laid out to choose the speaker. It's very clear in the Constitution that that is our responsibility. Third in line to the president.
Right. That is your responsibility. That does not magically make you a responsible person. You see? You don't, just because someone gives you responsibility or you found your way to a position where you have responsibility, it does not mean you are automatically capable of being responsible. You fucking toddler.
Let's get it right. Let's do our...
Yeah. It'll only take about 9 more tries.
Our job. And honestly, let's not leave town until we do it. That's our job. I will commit to doing that. I've got kids at home. I've got stuff that I'd like to be at. My son wants me to be at baseball games, but we need to be here doing our job. We should not leave Washington, D.C. until we choose a speaker, period, full stop.
So what do you tell your kid? Yeah, well, I'm part of the fuck-up caucus, son, and it's a very important thing that in the midst of all the challenges that are going on in the world, that me and my dickhead friends throttle one branch of government.
You know, Congressman, we've talked to D.C. watchers and historians.
D.C. watchers and historians, and they tell us that you're a unique species of fuck up.
We've never seen Washington so divided.
What? Okay, first of all, the reason they don't have a speaker is because 8 Republicans voted with Democrats. So first of all, eat shit. Secondly, the rest of the town and even the Republicans in the Senate have their fucking act together. The House Republicans are chaos agents. That's not on us, fuckhead.
And it's both sides, but it's
no, it isn't.
Certainly, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi accused repeatedly of being really nasty toward the other side.
Why? Because she won't fix their problems for them, like she's their goddamn nanny.
She's now accused of launching a vicious attack on Congressman Jim Jordan, that naming him Speaker is a quote, an assault on our democracy. Which
apparently a large number of Republicans agree with.
So she's not a uniter.
Yes, she is. First of all, she's not even the fucking minority leader right now. Hakeem Jeffries is. Secondly, she's right.
Critics have said she's a divider. So you're dealing with that too.
She's apparently saying there's a difference between Democrats and Republicans, and Democrats who are in the minority who's stuck together, and if it had just been a majority vote, Hakeem Jeffries would be the fucking speaker right now.
Jim, you know, the quote is Jim Jordan assaulted our democracy on January 6th. Yeah. What do you...
Yeah, agreed.
What do you say to that?
I helped him? What do you expect him to say?
Yeah, this is the fundamental problem that you just identified. Look, I've worked with some of my Democrat colleagues. I've moved bipartisan legislation before, but...
No. They have moved the bipartisan legislation, and you have glommed onto it because you have no fucking choice. Or because you needed to pass military funding or some shit like this. That's not bipartisan. That's must pass, so you fucking throw training wheels on it and act like it needs that to stay stable. It's not.
But right now, we cannot work with our Democratic colleagues to address the concerns that my constituents care about. They have no...
Why not?
No interest in securing the border.
Yeah, they do. They actually have their own stuff for it. You just want more wall instead of more modern methods, especially for checking what's coming through vehicles with more technology, especially, you know, newer and better technology to look inside trucks that are coming through, because that's where how the fentanyl largely is coming in.
They have no interest in stopping the cartels moving fentanyl into our communities.
So what you're saying is Democrats just want people to continue to die from fentanyl, and you say something like that, and you're saying it's difficult to build you're saying that people are divided. They're not divided because you're asserting that they want people to die from fentanyl?
No interest in standing with Israel versus Hamas for the most part.
For the most part, except with the funding that they put forward and actually wanting to be able to vote on it and voting for a House Speaker that, again, if there was a majority, would already be there, and this bill would have already passed.
No interest in stopping deficit spending. No interest in making sure our military is focused on the mission.
Uh-oh. Darkness falls across the land. Shit, and I thought I was the only one having tech issues.
Instead of being more woke and engaged in social engineering, we need partners in this, and they refuse. So
they refuse to help us. I don't know where I am. And they won't pick up the phone. Jesus Christ, it's like the Blair Witch Project, Washington, D.C.
What you're seeing open in live display is the Republican conference
sucking wind,
doing all of the work to
try and talk to each other, and the Democrats sitting over there, all united,
to stand in the breach against a out-of-control Biden administration, Chuck Schumer and the Pelosi Democrats that are under the tutelage of Hakeem Jeffries right now, who, by the
Under the tutelage.
way, has said some outrageous things in the past, and he has never apologized for those things, and that's worth it.
Outrageous! I'm sorry, I don't have my outrageous graphic. So whatever Hakeem Jeffries has said that's upsetting Chip Roy was true. Just for the record. It was true. That's why he's upset. Whatever Hakeem Jeffries said, he said it's outrageous. That means it's true. Hold on one second. Back this shit up. Come on, dickhead. Back the shit up. Back up. 1 second. Hold on. I'll just do it this way. Give me 1 minute. Da 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 dum 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 dum. Da 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 dum dum da da dum. Da 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 da. Let's see, that should be good. Okay, we'll add that. Outrageous! Yeah, there we go. I think I gotta put a little, I'm gonna have to put a frame around this fucker. Background. Let's do yeah, gradient, something like that. Outrageous! Text. Margin, let's do that. Let's be all right. And yeah, and then I'll hide that fucker, and then I'll go to my little window and I will add a button that says show hide overlay, and in that I will go to outrageous. There we go. Okay, and let's see, fabulous. And then from this point forward, I can just hit this button. Outrageous! Okay, that'll solve it. Temporarily, temporary fix. Please continue, shithead.
Said some outrageous things in the past, and he has never apologized for those things, and that's worth a discussion in and of itself.
Congressman, are they getting the wake-up call from Wall Street? We've got Wall Street titans like Stanley Druckenmiller and
Stanley Drunkenhoomer?
Mohamed El-Arian. They're top Wall Street titans. They're saying Fed official statements. The Fed's officials are no longer moving the markets. They're warning the bond market, which sets bank mortgage.
Excuse me, Casey. I know you're on Fox Business, but Chip Roy is glazing over for a reason. He doesn't understand what the fuck you're talking about. And he's going to take whatever you're saying, and he's going to sort of fall back to, this is all 'cause deficit, blah, blah, blah. And, and then he might black out. There's a chance, and it's very dangerous because he's up against a banister. He could fall to the next level, or it's just a marble floor. Either way, it's not going to work well for that bald head.
And, consumer loan rates could be broken because Congress and the White House can't stop overspending, flooding the Treasury market with more and more bonds. Are they hearing that wake-up call?
Flooding the market with bonds.
Hope so. This is one of the key considerations, and I got to be honest, all right? This is at the core of the fight right now. You have the status quo in Washington. You have people here who want more of the same. Those of us who are trying...
People want... Like, the fucking interest rate is going up in general in a way that it hasn't gone up since the fucking 90s. That's why the 10-year Treasury yield is going up, because it's going to maintain at a certain point. Here's why. See that 4.990%? Okay. If you own residential property, if you're a landlord, and especially not if you just own a house and rent it out, but if you own like an apartment building, or in the case of a lot of these bigger companies, the ones she's defending, large blocks of apartment buildings, okay? You have to, there's a switch where the profitability of that, of owning that as an investment towards your investors stops at about 4.2%. Because anything, you can go down as far as 4.2%. If it goes lower than that, your profit margin on this, then you're better off just putting it in bonds because you don't have to evict people if they don't pay their rent from a bond. Does that make sense? It's safer in treasuries. So why the fuck would you bother to invest in property which has all the muck of human beings living in it, and they might destroy it, and again, insurance, and somebody could get, there's a fucking windstorm and one of the windows blows through and it costs you all this money, and there's this window of profitability that, you know, you can manage based on actuarials and insurance and how much insurance you have to carry and all that stuff. That's about 4.2%. Once you get above, anything else gets above 4.2%, or it gets as low as 4.2%, because that's the basement, you might as well just buy bonds and sit on them. And you can always sell them to somebody else who doesn't want to get into real estate if the market turns. So they just hop over and do this shit. That's why.
Trying to change it, to end the $2 trillion deficits, to stop racking up 33, now going on $34 trillion of debt. The institutionalists in this town, the people who favor the status quo, the establishment, if you will, they don't want us to change things. They want us to...
No, they want you to pay down stuff over time like fucking adults. But every time they start to do that part of it, you guys start clamoring about they're raising taxes, and you want a tax cut that costs $6 trillion. That takes that out. Instead of just letting it ride and going, this is the tax rate for now, you guys run on lowering the tax rate, whether it's necessary or fucking not. And whether it will, there's any evidence that it will spur growth or any of that shit. It's just always cut taxes because you want to smother the government. It isn't even about the taxes themselves. It's about that you want to starve the beast or cut off funding because you think everything fucking government does is bad. Whereas Democrats are like, at the current plan, this is our budget, and we have a spike because we came out of COVID, and we're building infrastructure, but on top of that infrastructure, people will be able to fly and travel safer, and that will add to the GDP, as well as the development and the rural broadband and all that kind of stuff is going to expand the pie instead of slicing the pie thinner, which is what these motherfuckers want. And then it will taper over time. Hence, I mean, look at fucking Clinton. That's what they were doing. And the Republicans were like, no, that's not good enough. We need to choke off government.
Just write more blank checks for our military, for Ukraine, for,
Excuse me, motherfucker? Mr. Rebuild the military, Mr. Trump was the real dude. Mr. We need a brand new everything.
Wanted unended spending.
No, we would like to finish the Ukraine war and end it for real by financing it properly instead of piecemeal costing us more money. Jesus Christ, these guys don't know how to plan shit. I mean, it might be why they hate government, because they can't do it.
For the federal bureaucracy. I think we need to stop that for the betterment of our constituents. Inflation is a direct consequence of the government spending.
No, it is not. Find me an inflation moment in the American economic picture since, I don't know, whenever the fuck they've been tracking this stuff as part of it, 1960? That was preceded by a worldwide pandemic. That was followed by the greatest reshoring in factories and the avoidance of slave labor since the fucking Civil War.
That members of Congress refuse to address. Yeah. That is front and center in this fight right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that turd is back. Someone is farting. Is Rudy my next guest? God damn. That is a stench. I'm getting COVID from that. I can smell that. Whoa.
Now, and we're going to hold the line for the American people.
No, you're not.
Because we work for our constituents. We work with our colleagues, and there's a difference.
Well, you don't work for your constituents. What the fuck are you talking about? This dude's from, like, an urban part of Austin, for fuck's sake. He's in office because he's in Texas. if he had to directly represent like downtown Austin, where most of the fucking people in his district are, get the fuck out of here.
San Francisco Fed researchers, also Chicago Fed researchers said yes, fiscal overspending is causing inflation, helping to drive it. Congress.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that fallback? Fuck you, lady. Say that again. Back the fuck up. Listen to this. Listen to this again. Two feds, she's saying. This is what she said.
Cisco Fed researchers also.
Researchers. Not the Fed itself and what they concluded. Because they have researchers that look at from all different perspectives, right? So you'll have one that will say that it's all monetary policy and one that will say it's all trade and one that, like, there'll be different working groups. One of the working groups is fucking pretending, refusing to solve for X, that is the fucking pandemic. Those researchers said that it's the cause of the thing, and then she doesn't even say it full-throatedly. Watch this.
Chicago Fed researchers said yes, fiscal overspending is causing inflation.
Fiscal overspending is causing inflation. That's a pretty definitive statement, right? Fiscal overspending is causing inflation. But wait, there's more.
Helping to drive it.
Helping to drive it. Helping to drive it. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to hold it together. I don't know what the mic output on this setup can handle. And if I start screaming, you may not be able to make out what I'm actually fucking saying.
Congressman Chip Roy, a pleasure having you on today.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for mailing me a turd. And that's what's in this box, isn't it? It's the old Tiffany box turd trick, isn't it? I'm afraid to open it. It's damp. I can kind of feel it. It's making my eyes sting. It's fucking hell. But one more time.
So, Chicago Fed researchers.
Chicago Fed researchers. I take it back. This may be even more of a dodge than I thought. Chicago Fed researchers might be researchers that work at the Chicago Fed, or people in her office who research what the Chicago Fed is looking at. Who fucking knows?
Said yes, fiscal overspending is causing inflation.
Nod. Is driving it.
Helping to drive.
Is helping to drive it. Fucking hell. And why do they think that? Well, because that's how it always works out. Does it really? Is that what caused it after 2008 when things rebounded? Was that inflation, or was that companies had shut down and then companies took a while to come on fucking line? Oy.
Congressman Chip Roy, a pleasure having you on tonight.
Which is a lie.